All right, so economic crisis is nothing new. Everywhere around us, we keep hearing about economy shrinking.
Africa, Asia,
Everywhere.
America, Europe, it's getting worse.
And in our part of the world, we build our lives around our jobs.
We build our lives, we build our personalities, we build our recreation. I know people who get to work by 6:30 in the morning and they don't get home until 11 p.m.
Everything. It means your whole
including
life.
Saturday and even Sundays for the most part. So, our jobs define us.
Our jobs define us. So what happens when the job goes? So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're talking about today.
Our lives go.
Our lives go.
Absolutely. How do we deal with it?
How do we deal with it? And I'm sure folks at home and people listening to us, you know somebody who's like, you probably have lost your own job, sadly.
And it's possible that they may not have anyone. They may not know anyone who's lost their job. I can volunteer myself.
Because you've been there.
I've lost my job twice.
Wow.
Once as a young, fresh graduate. Secondly, as a father of a 4-month-old, having to live with one income. My wife wasn't working. We had only one income between my wife and myself. And we still have to survive.
It's incredible. Now, I'm sure you guys want to hear that story. So that's what we're talking about today. What to do when job loss happens. Like you said, you have an amazing story, which I must say that a lot of people don't know.
Well, I'm assuming that probably 2 categories of people listening right now.
Yeah.
Those who are young and those who have families. And I think I fit into both categories. The first time I lost my job, I was a fresh graduate. I was young. I could take risks. The second time I lost my job, I was not so young. I was a father. I had a 4-month-old baby, and we had only one income between my wife and myself. And how did I survive it? Do you want to really hear my story?
Yeah, I'm sure I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
The first time I lost my job was as a fresh graduate, and it was my first job. And you know the thing about first jobs, you put in your best. Everything you learn to school, you want to pour it out. You want to tell, wow, this is it. I'm going to build a career in that. And 6 months after, my boss called me one day and said, well, guess at the end of this month, you have to go. I wept. I said, why? Do you know why he fired me? Because it was a startup, and I couldn't drive. So what happened? When we go to defend businesses and go for pitches, my boss will drive, he will think, he will close deals, and I will just chill beside him. And he felt no. With what I was paying, and he wasn't really paying that much, but I mean, for a starter, it was a lot. Yeah. And he felt, look, I guess there may be someone there who I can get, who could also drive, and who could also do this job. So he said, well, you have to go. So he fired me. I wept. It was devastating for me. I almost lost my mind. I almost lost faith in the corporate world. And there are some people like that who go through that experience and I don't know how to deal with it. Now, the second story about my job loss, this time, maybe I wasn't as taken unawares because there was a corporate policy that, well, people who are doing other businesses alongside the businesses, we used to call it PP then, I don't know what they call it now, private practice. Because, you see, the salary I was earning, you always needed more money. Yeah. So everyone had some business going at some point on the side. So, well, they got to know that some of us were doing some other businesses, and so they said, "Look, dude, you had to go." So we got fired. But the amazing about it was that, again, I took it to God to help me, okay? Because I said, "Well, God, I have a family now to feed," and it wasn't as funny as the first time now, and God helped me. And within 6 months, I got a big breakthrough business. I made my first million.
Wow.
Yeah. And this was 1994. It's not today when you talk about millions as if it's just pure water. Yeah. If you had 1,000, 2,000 a month, you were very, very rich. You were very big. So I made my first 1 million in the 6 months of that layoff. And my life did not remain the same since that time. I mean, I just got into business and began to do well. Okay. And so those experiences have actually taught me that some good things can come really out of job losses if you know how to put it in the hand of God.
It's incredible. We're going to break down this story because I'm sure they want to know the end and how you went through it, because all you've done is basically to give us a summary of it. So don't go anywhere. We're going to hear the breakdown, how Pastor Peter Talks went through his own valley, because that's like a valley experience.
Yeah,
I guess.
It was.
How you went through your valley experience and you came out now, because I'm sure many people want to be like you. They look at you and they like what you are now.
Well, thank God I went through 2 major job losses, but here we are still standing. How did we make it happen? How did we survive it? Basically, it was purely by the help of God. And that help I want to offer you today. If you're going through job loss or you know someone's going through job loss, I have 2 scriptures to share with you. And the first is from the book of Job, chapter 14, verse 7 to 9. And the second one is from the book of Psalms, chapter 55, in verse 22. And let me start with Job 14, 7 to 9. And it says, "At least there is hope for a tree. If it is cut down, it will sprout again. And its new shoots will not fail. And its roots may grow hold in the ground, and its stump die in the soil. Yet at the scent of water it will bud and put forth shoots like a plant." And I want to believe that will happen for you if you just put that crisis into the hand of God. The second scripture is Psalm 55, verse 22. And it says, "Cast your cares on the Lord, and He will sustain you. He will never let the righteous fall." Well, I think these scriptures will do a whole lot of amazing help and provide you a lot of succor in this time of crisis.
All right. That's incredible. Thank you very much for sharing them with us. We're going to go straight into the questions.
Okay.
Because we've got a couple of questions. And you know, when it has to do with, like you said when we started, it's very emotional.
Oh, yes.
It's very traumatic. And when people don't handle it well, even family systems break down.
Absolutely. People lose their mind, people lose their job, people lose their marriages, they lose their vital relationships.
So
You know,
it's a big deal.
yeah, it is a big deal.
So let's deal with practical questions now.
Okay.
What can a victim do? Because people react differently. What can a victim do when he suffers job loss? We're talking about practical things that he can.
I like that word victim. Why? Because it's a crisis. And when you talk about crisis, you have to talk about victim. And for me, I found succor in God. Okay? Because job loss is a very emotional issue for me. And that's why I feel the pain of people watching us right now or listening to us right now. Okay? But you see, it's not always all that bad. There's always something good in every crisis. For instance, when I lost my first job, what I did was that it kicked into my head that, come to think of it, my boss who fired me was just 5 years older than I was. Then I was about 22. My boss was about 27 or thereabout. And he had started his business about 3 years before that time. Something kicked and said to me, "What's wrong with you? This guy started his business when he was young, probably about your age. And right now he's just hired you and fired you. You can be a hirer of labor. You can start something by yourself." And that, it kind of come to think of it. Wow, I can do something. So I started. Now, it was humbling for me. But I said to myself, after about 2-3 days of sobbing and sulking, I said, well, then it occurred to me that while I was working in the complex, there was a bakery where I used to get my breakfast loaf of bread. And they have this small loaves of bread they make for burger, for people who make burgers. So I said to myself, come to think of it, what can I do? So I went, looked at my little savings, and started buying loaves of bread, burger bread, and I'll take it to another part of my city where there are a lot of fast food companies that need this loaf of bread. And I will just go from door to door and sell this thing, and that's how I survived.